I found out my husband had transferred every dollar we built in 42 years to his mistress 3 hours before he looked me in the eyes and told me he loved me. I'm sitting in a Chase Bank office on Madison Avenue, 4th floor, and the fluorescent lights are making everything feel unreal. Like I'm watching myself from somewhere else. The account manager, Jessica, her nameplate says mid-30s, probably makes more than I ever did. She's sliding papers across the mahogany desk with this look. You know the look. The one that says, "I'm so sorry this is happening to you, but I've seen it 100 times before." "Mrs. Warren," she says, and her voice has that careful softness people use at funerals. "The transfer was authorized yesterday. 11:47 a.m. All joint accounts. The retirement funds. Everything. Everything." I stare at the statement. Numbers that used to mean security used to mean we made it Felicia. We actually made it all zeroed out. Moved to an account under one name, Camila Rains. I don't know anyone named Camila Rains. There must be a mistake, I hear myself saying, and I hate how small my voice sounds. 42 years of marriage, and suddenly I sound like a child who lost her lunch money. Jessica's eyes drop to the papers. The authorization came with both required signatures, and she hesitates. That hesitation tells me everything. "Mrs. Warren, did you sign transfer documents on Tuesday? Tuesday, I was at Mount Sinai with my mother. Tuesday, Leonard was supposedly at a budget meeting for the nonprofit board he chairs. Tuesday, I trusted my husband of 42 years. No, I whisper. I didn't sign anything. The words hang there between us like smoke.
Jessica's fingers hover over her keyboard.
"Mrs. Warren, I need to be direct with you. The house title was also transferred, out of joint ownership. It happened 3 days ago." The room tilts. Our brownstone, the one on West 78, the one we bought in 1987 when Manhattan real estate was still possible for 2 teachers. The one where I raised our daughter Emma. The one with the kitchen I renovated myself tile by tile the summer Leonard was teaching that program at Columbia. That's not possible, I say, but even as I'm saying it, I'm remembering.
"The manila envelope Leonard asked me to sign tax documents, honey. Nothing important while I was on the phone with Emma, while I was distracted, while I was trusting him." Jessica turns her screen toward me.
There it is. Digital proof of erasure. Property owner Leonard Warren and Camila Rains, not Leonard and Felicia. Leonard and Camila.
"Where is he?" Jessica asks gently.
"Your husband business retreat," I say automatically. That's what he told me. Some conference upstate. He'd be back Friday. He'd texted me this morning, "Love you, Lish. Can't wait to be home. Love you." I stand up so fast the chair scrapes against the floor. Jessica's saying something about fraud investigation, about legal options, about timelines. But I'm already moving toward the door because if I stay in this office one more second, I'm going to shatter into pieces right here on the plush carpet. Outside on Madison Avenue, it's 3:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, and the city is doing what it always does, moving fast, caring nothing about anyone's personal apocalypse. Taxis honking. Tourists taking photos. Someone selling pretzels on the corner, and the smell makes my stomach turn. I pull out my phone. My hand is shaking so badly I almost drop it. 16 missed calls from a number I don't recognize. No voicemails. No texts from Leonard. I try his cell. Straight to voicemail.
The recording in his steady, trustworthy voice. "This is Leonard Warren.
Please leave a message." The voice I've heard say, "Good morning, beautiful," roughly 15,000 times. The voice that said vows in a little church in Brooklyn in 1983. The voice that whispered we're going to be okay when Emma was born 6 weeks early. That voice just took everything. I'm standing on the sidewalk, and somewhere in my purse, my phone starts ringing. Unknown number again. This time, I answer. "Mrs. Warren," a woman's voice. Young. Nervous. Mrs. Warren, my name is Tessa. I'm a paralegal at Morrison and Chen. I was asked to deliver some documents to you, but you weren't home. So what documents? A pause. Divorce papers, Mrs. Warren. Filed yesterday morning. The sidewalk, the street, the whole city. Everything goes silent for a moment. Like someone hit mute on the world. What the word comes out broken. I'm so sorry. The petition was filed at 9 a.m. yesterday. Standard, irreconcilable differences. There's also a restraining order preventing you from I hang up. I hang up and I stand there on Madison Avenue with my phone in my hand and I realize this wasn't impulse. This wasn't some midlife crisis. This was planned. Calculated. Leonard didn't just betray me. He erased me. Methodically. Legally. While looking me in the eyes. While texting love you. While I was taking care of his mother at Mount Sinai, the woman who has dementia and doesn't remember her own son half the time. But somehow still remembers me. 42 years. And in 48 hours he made me disappear. I looked down at my phone. At the reflection of myself in the black screen. Felicia Warren. 64 years old. High school English teacher retired. Volunteer coordinator. Mother. Wife. Former wife, apparently. My phone buzzes. A text from that unknown number. I almost don't open it. But I do. It's a photo. Leonard. My Leonard. 68 years old with silver hair and reading glasses, and the cardigan I bought him for Christmas. Standing on what looks like a beach, definitely not upstate New York. His arm around a woman. 30s, maybe. Dark hair. Bright smile. His hand on her very pregnant belly. The message below, stop calling his phone. He's moved on. You should too. Camila. I stand there on Madison Avenue, people flowing around me like water around a stone, and I feel something I haven't felt in 42 years of teaching teenagers, of managing a household, of being good and patient and understanding. I feel something sharp, something cold, something that tastes like justice starting to wake up. The smell of burnt toast brings it all back. I'm standing in my daughter Emma's kitchen in Park Slope, because I can't go home because home isn't mine anymore, and she's making breakfast and the toast burns just a little, and suddenly I'm 26 again in our first apartment on Amsterdam Avenue burning toast because I was rushing to get to my teaching job at PS 145 while Leonard slept in after another late night working on his business plan. That apartment was 450 square feet. We shared a bathroom with roaches. But God, we were happy. Or I thought we were. Leonard had this dream back then. He wanted to start an educational software company. This was 1985, when personal computers were just becoming a thing. He'd talk about it for hours, sketching diagrams on napkins, his eyes bright with possibility. We're gonna change how kids learn leash, he'd say. Just give me 2 years. Maybe 3. I gave him 7. 7 years of me teaching full-time and tutoring on weekends while he worked out of our living room, burning through our savings. 7 years of me saying it's fine, honey, when we couldn't afford to fix the car, couldn't visit my parents in Pennsylvania, couldn't try for a baby yet because the timing wasn't right. 7 years of believing in someone else's dream so hard I forgot I had my own. When my father died in 1989, he left me $47.00. His life savings. Money he'd earned driving a bus for 33 years, money he'd saved for my future. I can still see the check the way my mother's hand shook when she gave it to me. Your father wanted you to have security, she said. I used every penny to pay off Leonard's business debt. He cried when I told him. Real tears. He held my face in his hands and said, Felicia Marie, you are the only reason I'm standing. I'm going to make you proud. I promise. And he did build something. By 1992, his company was profitable. By 1995, we bought the brownstone. By 2000, he was consulting for the Department of Education. Leonard Warren became someone people respected, someone invited to panels, asked for advice, photographed at charity galas. I was always just off to the side in those photos. The wife, smiling. Emma was born in 1993, 6 weeks early, weighing 4 pounds. I remember sitting in the NICU at 2 in the morning, my hand through the incubator porthole, singing to her. Leonard came when he could, but there was always a meeting, always a deadline. "You're so good at this," he'd say, kissing my forehead. "You're a natural mother." What he meant was, "You do this part, I'll do the important things." I raised Emma mostly alone. School plays, where I was the only parent in the audience. Sick days when I'd call into work because Leonard had an unmissable conference. Teenage heartbreaks I navigated while he was upstate at some retreat. I never resented it. That's the truth. I believed in what we were building together, this family, this life. I believed marriage meant you carried each other's weight. The year Emma went to college, 2011, Leonard's mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. His sister lived in California, so it fell to me. Doctors, appointments, medication management, eventually moving her into assisted living, then memory care. Leonard would visit on Sundays sometimes. "You're so patient with her," he'd say. "I don't know how you do it." I did it the same way I did everything. Quietly, without asking for applause. If you've ever given everything to someone who later turned away, you'll understand this part. You understand that love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just showing up. Every single day. Even when no one's watching. Through the 2008 recession, when his consulting work dried up and I went back to teaching. Through his father's funeral in 2015, when Leonard couldn't stop crying and I held him like a child. Through my own mother's decline, her small apartment in Astoria, where I'd visit every Thursday bringing groceries, paying bills Leonard never asked about. We made it to 42 years. I actually thought that meant something. There was this moment, maybe 5 years ago. We were walking through Central Park, one of those rare autumn afternoons when he wasn't working. The leaves were gold and red, and we stopped at Bow Bridge, and Leonard put his arm around me. "Leash," he said, "if anything ever happens to me, you know you'll be taken care of first, right? Everything I have is yours." I remember leaning into him, feeling safe. "We're going to grow old together," I said. He kissed the top of my head. "Yes, we are." Now I'm standing in Emma's kitchen staring at burnt toast, and that memory feels like a knife. Everything he had was mine. Until it wasn't. Until he decided 42 years could be erased in 48 hours. Until vows meant nothing. Until I became disposable. Emma touches my shoulder. "Mom, you okay?" I look at my daughter. 23 years old. Beautiful. Strong. Everything I raised her to be. "Yeah, baby," I say. "I'm okay." But I'm not looking at her when I say it. I'm looking past her out the window at Brooklyn, at the city I've lived in for 40 years, and I'm thinking about something my father once told me: "Felicia, being good doesn't protect you from bad people. It just proves you're better than them." I'm about to find out if that's true. I meet our accountant on Thursday morning. Gerald Chen.
We've used him for 17 years.
He has an office in Midtown, one of those buildings with marble lobbies and security guards who nod at you like they know your secrets. Gerald won't look at me when I walk in. That's the first sign. "Felicia," he says, standing up but not coming around the desk. "Keeping distance. I wasn't expecting you." "Leonard cleaned out our accounts," I say. No preamble. No pleasantries. I need to see everything. He sits back down slowly. His hands are flat on the desk, like he's steadying himself. "Felicia, I can't discuss your husband's financial decisions without his. They were our accounts, Gerald. Joint. I need to know what happened. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he opens a drawer and pulls out a manila folder. Slides it across the desk like it might burn him. These are the authorization forms, he says quietly. Signed by both parties. All legally executed. I open the folder. My hands are steady now. That's the strange thing about betrayal. This deep at some point, your body just goes numb. There's my signature. On transfer forms. On title changes. On beneficiary updates. Except it's not my signature. It's close. Very close. The F loops the same way. The tail on the is right, but the Warren is wrong, too neat, too careful. I've signed my name 10,000 times. I know how my hand moves. Gerald, I say, and my voice sounds like it's coming from underwater. I didn't sign these. He won't meet my eyes. The documents were notarized. I didn't sign these. Felicia, he forged my signature. I'm standing now, the folder shaking in my hands. Leonard forged my signature and you processed it anyway. Gerald's face goes pale. I had no reason to suspect 17 years, Gerald. You've known us for 17 years. He opens his mouth, closes it. Finally, I'm sorry. Sorry. Such a small word for such a massive violation. I look back down at the papers. There's another name I don't recognize listed over and over. Camila Rains. Sole beneficiary. Primary account holder. Co-owner. A woman I've never met now owns my life. I'm walking back to Emma's apartment. I can't afford a cab anymore. Isn't that funny when my phone rings? It's my son, Eli. He's 31, lives in Boston, works in tech. Calls every Sunday, like clockwork. Today's Thursday.
Mom, he says, and his voice is strange.
Careful. Can we talk? Of course, baby. A pause. Too long. Dad called me. He said you've been having some kind of episode. That you're not well. I stop walking. Right there on Lexington Avenue, people flowing around me. What he said, you've been paranoid. Accusing him of things. That he's had to take control of the finances because you're... Mom, he used the word unstable. The world tilts. Eli, I say very carefully, your father drained our bank accounts, transferred the house out of my name, and filed for divorce. Without telling me. While texting me that he loved me. Silence on the other end. Mom, he forged my signature. He's moved in with a woman who's pregnant. And he told you I'm unstable, Jesus. Eli's voice cracks. Mom, I didn't... He made it sound like you were having some kind of breakdown and he was trying to protect you. Protect me. That's when I understand. Leonard didn't just steal everything. He built a story, a narrative where I'm the problem, the mentally unwell wife who can't be trusted, who needs to be managed, who forced him to take drastic action. He's rewriting 42 years to make himself the victim. I hang up with Eli and open Instagram. I don't know why. Maybe because pain makes you stupid. Maybe because I need to see it to believe it. It takes me 30 seconds to find her. At Camila Rains Nike. Private account, but her profile picture is public. It's her. The woman from the photo. Dark hair, bright smile, hand on her belly. But there's a new post just from today. The preview shows Leonard. My Leonard. Their faces pressed together, her diamond ring, my grandmother's diamond, the one I thought was in our safe deposit box catching the light. The caption visible even without following New Beginnings with my forever man blessed loved ones. There are comments. Dozens. Congratulations. Heart emojis. And their third comment down from an account I recognize because I set it up for him at Leonard Warrenese, a heart emoji. My husband of 42 years just posted a heart emoji on his pregnant mistress's Instagram while I'm standing on a street corner homeless with $87 in my purse. If you've ever trusted someone so deeply that their betrayal made you question your own worth, you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not unstable. You're human. And you deserved better. Thank you to everyone who helps me tell these stories. Your support keeps this space alive for those who still believe that truth somehow will always find its way. I stand there on Lexington Avenue, phone in my hand, and I feel something shift inside my chest. They took everything. The money, the house, my reputation, 42 years. But they forgot something. I'm still alive. And I'm still Felicia Marie Warren, daughter of a bus driver who taught me that dignity isn't given, it's kept. I open my phone again. Not Instagram this time. This time, I call a lawyer. The brownstone is so quiet I can hear the refrigerator hum 3 rooms away. I'm sitting in the living room, my living room. Except it's not mine anymore, is it? And the afternoon light comes through the window at that angle. It always does in late October, gold and dusty. And I realize I've been staring at the same spot on the wall for 20 minutes. There's a nail hole there. From a picture frame. Our wedding photo used to hang there. Leonard took it down last month. Said he wanted to refresh the space. I didn't think anything of it then. Now I know. He was erasing me one nail hole at a time. Emma keeps calling. I let it go to voicemail. Not because I'm angry at her God, she's the only thing keeping me tethered right now, but because if I hear her voice, if I hear that careful concern that Mom, please talk to me, I'll break. And I can't break yet. I don't know why, but I feel like if I break now, I'll never put myself back together. The house echoes. 42 years of life, and it echoes. I walked to the bodega yesterday, the one on Columbus, where Ahmed always saves the good tomatoes for me, and he looked right through me. Didn't smile. Didn't ask about Leonard. Just rang me up and handed me my change without a word. Later, I saw him laughing with Mrs. Chen from 2 doors down. They were looking at me. That's when I understood Leonard's story got out first. The unstable wife. The woman who couldn't handle aging, who became paranoid, who forced him to protect himself financially. In a neighborhood like this, where everyone knows everyone, where gossip moves faster than the subway, you don't recover from that kind of narrative. I am the crazy ex-wife before I'm even officially an ex. This morning I saw Patricia from the co-op board on the street. We've had coffee together for 15 years. She crossed to the other side before we could make eye contact. I came home and closed all the curtains. Now I'm sitting in the half-dark, and I'm thinking about a thing my mother said once, right before she died. She was in the hospital bed, barely conscious, and she squeezed my hand and whispered, "Felicia, don't let anyone make you small." I didn't understand then. I do now. I've been folding myself smaller for decades, making space, staying quiet, not asking for too much, being grateful, being patient, being good. And good got me here. Sitting in the dark in a house that's not mine anymore, while my husband posts heart emojis for a woman 30 years younger. If you've ever sat in a room so quiet it started to echo your thoughts, you'll understand this silence. It's not peaceful. It's suffocating. Like the walls are pressing in, like even the air knows you don't belong here anymore. Thank you to those who help keep these stories alive. Your kindness helps give voice to people who've been forgotten, who sit alone in their pain, waiting to be seen again. I get up, move to the bedroom. Our bedroom. Except Leonard hasn't slept here in 3 weeks, I realize now. All those business trips, all that working late. I open his dresser drawer. Most of his clothes are gone. He packed, methodically, while I was at Mount Sinai with his mother. In the back of the drawer, face down, is our wedding photo, the one from the living room wall. I pick it up. We're so young. 22 and 24. Leonard in a rented tux. Me in my mother's altered dress. We're standing on the steps of St. Augustine's in Brooklyn, and we're laughing, really laughing, because Leonard's cousin had just tripped over the church cat. I remember that laugh. How it felt like sunlight. I turn the photo over. On the back, in Leonard's handwriting from 1983, it says, "Felicia Marie, you're my whole world. Forever." Forever lasted 42 years. I put the photo down. I don't cry. I'm past crying. I'm in that strange place beyond tears, where everything just feels hollow. I pull my suitcase from the closet, the old one from before we could afford nice luggage, and I start packing. Not everything, just enough. Clothes for a week, toiletries, my father's watch, my mother's ring. I don't know where I'm going. Maybe I'll stay with Emma longer. Maybe I'll find a studio somewhere in Queens where the rent doesn't require proof of assets I no longer have. It's midnight when my phone buzzes. Unknown number. I almost don't look, but I do. The text is short: check the cabin. Behind the toolbox. I stare at the screen. The cabin. Leonard's family cabin. Upstate near Poughkeepsie. His father left it to him. We haven't been there in 5 years. Leonard always said it needed too much work. Behind the toolbox. My hands are shaking as I text back, "Who is this?" 3 dots appear. Then disappear. Then appear again. Finally, someone who knows what he did. Check the cabin. You'll understand. I sit on the edge of the bed, phone in my hand, and for the first time in a week, I feel something other than numbness. I feel awake. I drive upstate in Emma's car at 1 a.m.
The Taconic Parkway is empty, just me and the deer eyes glinting at the roadside.
I haven't been to the cabin in 5 years. Leonard always had an excuse: too much work, the roof needed fixing, maybe next summer. Now I know why. The cabin sits back from the road, hidden by pine trees. Leonard's father built it in the 60s, 2 rooms, a wood stove, a porch that sags on one side. I park and sit in the darkness, engine ticking as it cools. My phone has no service out here. I'm alone. I use my old key. It still works. Inside smells like dust and mice and something else, recent cologne. Leonard's cologne. He's been here. Recently. I find the toolbox in the back closet behind paint cans and drop cloths. It's locked. I use a screwdriver to pry it open. Inside, manila folders. USB drives. A burner phone. My hands shake as I open the first folder. Financial statements, but not ours. These are projections. Revenue models. An LLC I've never heard of, Rains Warren Consulting Group. Formed 18 months ago. Owners Leonard Warren and Camila Rains. 18 months. This wasn't an affair. This was a business plan. I open the burner phone. It powers on half charged. There are voice memos. Dozens. I press play on the most recent one. Dated 6 weeks ago. Leonard's voice clear as day: Camila. It's done. Transferred the last of the joint assets this morning. She'll never see a dime. Just sign the incorporation papers and we're free. The lawyer says if she fights, we use the mental instability angle. Her age works in our favor. I stop breathing. There's a pause on the recording. Then Camila's voice, younger, bright: "You're sure she won't suspect?" Leonard laughs. Actually laughs. "Felicia, she hasn't suspected anything in 40 years. She's too trusting. That's always been her problem." I sit on the floor. The wooden boards are cold against my legs. There's another file. Audio. I almost don't press it. But I do. This time, it's Eli. My son. Dad, this is insane. Mom's gonna freak out when she finds out.
Leonard, impatient, let her freak out.
She's old, Eli. She'll break. Then we'll get her evaluated, maybe get conservatorship if we need to. The house alone is worth $3 million. You think I'm gonna let 42 years of my work get split in some divorce, but Mom, your mother will be fine? We'll make sure she's comfortable. But this is about legacy, about what I've built. She didn't build this. I did. Silence. Then Eli, quieter. This feels wrong. It's survival, son. You'll understand when you're my age. I sit there on the cabin floor, phone in my hand, and something inside me goes very, very still. Not sad. Not angry. Clear.
If you've ever found truth in the quiet moments after pain, you know what this part feels like.
It's not relief. It's clarity. Cold and sharp and completely focused. Thank you to everyone who supports these stories. Your kindness keeps hope alive for people still finding their voice after betrayal. I gather every document, every USB drive. The phone. I photograph everything with my cell camera, even though there's no signal to send them anywhere yet. Then I drive back to the city. It's 4 a.m. when I get to Emma's apartment. She's awake, waiting terrified. Mom, where were you? I was about to call. I hand her the phone. Listen to the second voice memo, I say. My voice is calm. Steady. Then call your brother.
Emma's face changes as she listens.
Goes pale. Then red. Then something harder. Mom, she whispers. What are you going to do? I look at my daughter. 23 years old.
Everything I raised her to be strong, ethical, unafraid.
I'm going to let them destroy themselves, I say. With the truth. If they wanted war, I'll give them something worse. Silence. And documentation. There comes a point when silence stops meaning defeat. It becomes preparation. I sit in Emma's kitchen, Saturday morning sunlight coming through the window in clean lines, and I drink my coffee black. No sugar. No cream. Just bitter and clear. My phone rings. Leonard's number. I let it go to voicemail. It rings again. I silence it. Emma watches me from the doorway. Mom, you okay? Yeah, baby, I say. And I mean it. For the first time in 2 weeks, I mean it. I spend the weekend making lists. Not emotional lists, tactical ones. Evidence. Witnesses. Documentation. Timeline. I lay it all out on Emma's dining table like a map of a country I'm planning to reclaim. The forged signatures. The voice recordings. The hidden LLC. The offshore accounts I found referenced in Leonard's notes. 18 months of planning, all documented in his own hand. For years I mistook generosity for love. Now I'm learning the quiet math of self-respect. Monday morning I call Marco DeSantis. He retired from NYPD 5 years ago, used to work financial crimes. His daughter was in Emma's class at PS 145. I tutored her through algebra. He owes me nothing, but when I explain what happened, his voice goes cold. Felicia, he says, give me 48 hours. Tuesday afternoon, Marco calls back. You're going to want to sit down for this. I'm already sitting. Your husband didn't just move assets, Marco says. He hid them. Offshore accounts in the Caymans. An LLC that's been operating under the radar for over a year. And the signatures on those transfer documents, a forensic analyst could prove forgery in about 20 minutes. That's not just divorce fraud, Felicia. That's felony financial exploitation of a spouse. My hands are steady as I write this down. There's more, Marco continues. I ran a background on Camila Raines. She's got a sealed record from 2015 credit fraud. And 3 years ago, she was sued by an elderly man in Westchester for undue influence. Case was settled out of court. I close my eyes. She's done this before. Looks like it. Marco, I say quietly, what would you do? A pause. I'd bury them. Legally. Wednesday morning, I meet with an attorney. Not a divorce lawyer, an estate and fraud attorney. Rebecca Moss. Her office is in the financial district, small but precise. She's maybe 50 with gray hair. She doesn't die in eyes that miss nothing. I give her everything. The documents. The recordings. The forged signatures. She listens without interrupting. When I finish, she sits back in her chair. Mrs. Warren, she says what they did is a felony. Multiple felonies, actually. Financial exploitation, forgery, possibly tax evasion, if those offshore accounts aren't declared. If you want justice, we can bury them legally. I don't want to bury anyone, I say. I want what's mine. And I want them to understand what they did. Rebecca nods slowly. Then we'll be methodical. First, we file a fraud report with the DAA's office. Second, we petition to freeze all accounts pending investigation. Third, we request a forensic audit of all financial activity from the past 3 years. Fourth, we sue for recovery of assets plus damages. How long if we move fast? We can have preliminary injunctions filed by Friday. I look at her. Do it. My phone has 17 missed calls from Leonard by Thursday. I don't answer. I don't text back. I let him sit in the silence. Let him wonder what I know what I'm planning. Whether I've disappeared or if I'm just gone quiet. It's funny how silence can sound like thunder when guilt starts to echo. Friday afternoon, I do something I haven't done in 2 weeks. I schedule a family dinner. I text Leonard, we need to talk. Face to face. Sunday, 6 p.m., Emma's apartment. Bring Camila if you want. Time to discuss this like adults. He responds in 30 seconds, thank God, leash. I've been trying to reach you. We can work this out. I'll be there. I don't respond. Emma looks at me like I've lost my mind. Mom, you're inviting them here, yes. Why? I fold the last document into a manila envelope. Inside, copies of everything. The recordings. The forged signatures. The LLC paperwork. The fraud report I filed this morning.
The account freeze that goes into effect Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Because they think I'm broken, I say. They think I'm going to beg. Or cry. Or collapse. And instead, I seal the envelope.
Instead, I'm going to let them sit at your table, eat your food, and think they've won.
And then I'm going to hand them this envelope. And I'm going to watch their faces when they realize what I know. Emma stares at me. Mom, who are you right now? I smile. It's not a happy smile. It's something colder, clearer. I'm Felicia Warren, I say. And I'm done being erased. For the first time, I didn't need them to hear me.
My silence had already spoken.
The envelope sits on the counter ready. Sunday is 2 days away. Sunday comes like a held breath.
Emma sets the table in silence.
White plates. Simple glasses. Nothing fancy. This isn't a celebration. This is a reckoning.
Leonard arrives at 5:58.
Always punctual. 42 years and he's never been late to anything. He's wearing the navy blazer I bought him for his 65th birthday. His silver hair is freshly cut. He looks good. Rested. Like a man who sleeps soundly at night. Camila is with him. Younger than Emma. Pregnant belly prominent under a designer dress. I recognize Diane von Furstenberg, the one I looked at online last spring but couldn't justify buying. She's wearing my grandmother's diamond on her right hand. They sit across from me. Eli arrives last looking sick. He can barely meet my eyes. Felicia Leonard starts, and his voice has that reasonable tone he uses in board meetings. I'm glad you finally agreed to talk. We need to discuss the transition in a civilized sit-down, Leonard. He stops mid-sentence.
Something in my voice.
I place a manila folder on the table. Both hands flat on top of it. 42 years, I say quietly. I've been sitting across from you at tables like this for 42 years. Dinner tables, conference tables, hospital rooms, funerals. Always sitting across from you, Leonard, watching you talk, watching you decide things. Camila shifts uncomfortably. Mrs. Warren, I understand you're upset, but I'm not talking to you yet. My eyes don't leave Leonard's face. Right now, I'm talking to my husband. Leonard's jaw tightens. Felicia, the assets were moved for tax purposes. The lawyers can explain the lawyers. I open the folder. Let's talk about lawyers. I slide the first document across the table. This is a forensic analysis of the signatures on the transfer documents. The ones you said I signed. I pause. I didn't sign them, Leonard. You forged my name. The analyst can testify that the pressure points, the letter formation, the pen angle all wrong. You're good at a lot of things. Forgery isn't one of them.
Leonard goes pale.
He starts. I slide another document. This is a corporate filing for Rains Warren Consulting Group, formed 18 months ago. The same month you told me you needed to go to those extra board meetings. I look at Camila. You were never on a board, were you, Leonard? You were building a business with her. Camila's smile disappears. Mom, Eli says weakly. Dad said, I know what your father said. I slide another page toward Eli. He said I was unstable, paranoid, having some kind of breakdown. My voice stays level. He told you that so you'd side with him when I discovered he'd stolen everything. I press play on my phone.
The recording fills Emma's small dining room.
Leonard's voice, she'll never see a dime.
Just sign the incorporation papers and we're free. The color drains from Leonard's face. Camila's, you're sure she won't suspect? Leonard's laugh, Felicia. She hasn't suspected anything in 40 years. She's too trusting. That's always been her problem. I stop the recording. The silence is absolute.